Finally, one of my personal nerd-preferred favorite camping floor plans is back in the Cougar lineup with a couple updates, and I'm really curious to see what you think about it. Hey everybody, Josh the RV Nerd of Bitches RV down here at Keystone today. It's literally 0 degrees outside, and they were kind enough to pull these in for us. So first of all, thank you, Keystone. Secondly, thank you folks for tuning in today. What are we looking at here? What I like about this RV is that this is one of those good examples of what I kind of call your second camper the first time around. What I mean by that is, like, let's say you have a family now. Or maybe even you have some sometimes guests or some periodic guests, but not like full-time guests. What's really cool about this floor plan, it offers plenty of sleeping for everybody, plenty of personal space, a lot of really nice personal touches. But if you're not using it specifically, exclusively as a bunkhouse, when the bunks are not in place, this has one of the best cargo bunk arrangements out there that I think I've run into in a long time. And it has a direct entry bathroom door. But it's the kind of floor plan that if you're not always using it as a bunkhouse, it doesn't feel like you wasted 8 foot of your camper. I've talked to so many people, especially grandparents, who will buy an RV hoping the grandkids come along, and then they don't. And this is a floor plan where if maybe they're with you, or let's say your kids are in those 12 to 15 years of age kind of bracket, but they're going to probably age out of camping before your loan on an RV is completed. That's where a camper like this comes into play for me, because it's one of those things that if they don't camp with you, you don't really feel super bummed about it. The direct entry bathroom door cuts out so much dirty foot traffic in the RV. The king bed's a nice touch. The bigger ceiling, the drop frame storage, the anti-lock braking system, the HyperCore composite walls are all a bunch of really cool features on this. All I've really talked about is the general way that I like the floor plan. This thing has an amazing laundry list of features to it, but it's got some things you might not like too. I'm gonna just share what it has, the good, the bad with the ugly, and everything in between. And if you appreciate that, hit that subscribe button. Let's get in there. So let's get in there. When I have an opportunity like this, I actually like to start right outdoors. I will say, you might notice this when we step back outside. I don't know that I love the outside speaker setup. They are mounted practically all the way up against the roof line. And I feel like the only people who are going to get to enjoy those speakers are the neighbors. I appreciate, by the way, all the feedback that you folks leave. Like if you're like, no, I like the outside speakers, or I don't like the outside speakers, or anything that you're willing to share through these videos, please do. Your input literally has helped us develop our own series of travel trailers, Wayfinder RVs, and we've got multiple different subsets of that family, from entry-level stick and tins to SUV towables to laminated premium level RVs like this, and it's been heavily shaped by your input. So thank you. Please keep that coming. While we're looking at the floor here, something I want to make sure I talk about, like you can obviously see that there's floor heating vents. Keystone came up with their own heat diffuser. Is that the correct word? Basically heat vent cover. Pardon me for clearing my throat 100 times. I am just recovering from a case of the crud, and I'm better now, but throat's still kind of little every now and then. So if I sound like I'm swallowing at weird points, it's because I'm trying to keep my throat from spasming and going into a coughing attack. Anyway, but Cougar does not use like wood flooring. Basically, they have a composite flooring and wall system. Actually, now that I think about it, I think Cougar's one of the only Keystone brands that basically has composite and aluminum framed walls from top to bottom through their lineup. That may have changed, but I know that they were the first to do it, at least. And little details like this, having that shoe garage right by the door is really handy. Also, you might notice the fire extinguisher is kind of placed around the corner in there. I think that's a nice way to keep it accessible, but also not necessarily in the way. Smart little details. Now, you might notice there's some bonus drawers on the back side of that kitchen. I am going to try to remember to get those open in a few minutes, but I am notorious for forgetting those little details right there. So, I don't know. Keep those logged in your memory banks. They have a normal 6.5 foot sidewall, but they have about a 4 to 5 inch barreled ceiling. And a lot of dealer agents will list the interior height as like 81 inches. Well, yeah, maybe at the top, but not really. because your sidewall height, your 78-inch sidewall, is what determines slide out height, shower height, cabinet height. You know, the barreled ceiling does make it look and feel pretty nice, though. Now, while we're up here, I do want to mention that they are rocking a standard 15,000 BTU air conditioner, but a lot of brands are doing that. What's a little bit nicer is these are 50 amp, and the bedroom is second AC prepped, and there's even the ability, I think, from the factory to install a second air conditioner. So if you're in those really hot sun country zones, you can make sure that you're not sweating to the oldies with Richard Simmons in one of these things. Your ceiling lights, your slide lights, and your bedroom lights are all dimmers. Or dimmable, whatever you want to say. I don't want to, I found it's not good for me to demonstrate that on camera because it causes what's known as interlacing. Basically, the camera flickers, and it can cause some people some very uncomfortable visual discomfort, seizures potentially, you know, and I don't want to cause anyone to have a seizure. Now, you have different furniture options, and I'd love to hear from you. Like right now, we're looking at the max sleeping capacity with the tri-fold sleeper sofa and the fold-down Dream Dinette booth dinette system. Although I do love that Cougar's finally started including easier access to their benches on these. You have the ability to have a freestanding table and chairs, as well as a theater seat if you are so inclined. And I'd love to hear from you lovely viewers. What sort of furniture arrangement would you like to see in one of these? Now, obviously, we have a Buncargo system here. We got our little sticker telling us 300-pound rated. That's pretty normal on a situation like this. But the idea right here is if you've got like e-bikes or just a bunch of kids stuff or anything like that, you got a big old grill. Now, you do have a big front pass-through, but having the extra space out here, all those little things are awful nice to be able to get up here and navigate. Holy cow. It's going to be a throat clearing kind of day. Ooh, this is easy to miss. I'm glad I looked up in here. You do have household and USB outlets up in these little cubbies right here. So those are very, very easy to miss. And what's great is those are coming at no loss of anything else in the RV, because this wall separating the bunks from the bathroom is hollow. So all they're using is the hollow portion of the wall to create that little phone cubby pocket. It's so simple and easy, but most brands won't do it because you got to pay a guy to cut it out and frame it out and to do a good job. So a lot of brands just won't open themselves up to the opportunity to maybe not always do it right. And Cougar says, yeah, that's dumb. We just need to get it right. I respect it, you know. Also, I like this variation of the ladder wall. I also really appreciate they put these kind of metal tops on those steps right there, so the kids aren't tearing up the wood. Now, it is possible it's just a prototype, so I'm missing something. I need to verify this, but I currently see no curtain for the bunks. And I personally feel that's, as respectfully as I can say it, that's a bonehead level miss. Now, as having gone through and had a voice in helping develop our own series of RVs, I'll tell you, sometimes you're so involved in the project you can't see the forest from the trees, and I'd be shocked if that's not a little tweak update that they might make at some point. So real quick, cool update. I was between segments here. I sent the Cougar guy a message. I'm like, hey, did you intend to build this with no curtains for the bunks? And he went, no, that's absolutely an oversight by me. We're getting it corrected. So good news, when these things start rolling out to dealerships, they should have curtains for the bunks. Glad we get those kind of answers for you. If you appreciate how we look into that stuff instead of just guessing, trying to find out, give you an answer we know instead of think, I don't know, maybe hit that subscribe button. Know that we're going to try to go that extra link for you. Meanwhile, back to the dinette. So first of all, over in the, dinette slide area, you'll notice that anywhere a Cougar can, they use blackout roller shades. That's even true over in the bunks. There's some fire code reasons, like the big kitchen window that we're going to see. They can't put one there. You may have also noticed how every window that possibly can also opens for airflow, which is pretty handy. This is another major update compared to the previous generations of Cougars. The Indiana Eastern production Cougars didn't have easy access storage under the dinette, and obviously now they do. This floor plan is kind of interesting because you have that cargo bunk function. there's a chunk of space over here that wasn't necessarily easy to get to. So it's just a storage compartment, but it was just big enough that they could squeeze an extra long tote in there. So the storage comes to you instead of you digging into the storage. And just little details like that. I was like, that was a really smart, thoughtful detail. And I suspect there's a large number of people who will appreciate the fact that this does not include Nerdism number 37, the Peekaboo I Smell You bathroom door. In fact, it's fully framed out and fully privatized. It's something, I don't know if all Keystone, but like Cougar and Montana for sure, they're really good about fully framing out and having thicker interior walls. And again, they use some of that space in the bunk area, I think in a very smart, creative way. Now, this bathroom right here, again, the direct entry door freaks some people out. We're going to talk about that in a second. But first of all, the space around the toilet is fairly fluffy friendly. If you're of a decent stature like myself, you got long legs and maybe you're carrying a little bit extra weight in the midsection you don't need, this bathroom on that porcelain foot flush stool treats you just fine. Also a nice large, I guess not technically rectangular shower because it has the angled rear corners, but you know what I mean. By the way, those rear corners, they're mostly there to help the shower surround maintain its shape. It looks like a place where maybe you could put a shampoo bottle, but those things ain't even good enough for shower beers, if you know what I'm saying. The thing is, normally a 6.5 foot interior height means that a person like me, who's a little over 6 foot tall, would not be able to stand up in the shower. But you notice I was able to do that just fine. And you might notice also they've upgraded to a better shower head. So this is an Oxygenics shower head. A lot of people praise these for feeling like it gives them a little bit better water pressure. And did you notice how we can see very well in this bathroom because they actually included that little waterproof light cover right there in the shower area? Because we're indoors recording right now instead of outdoors where we're getting natural sun through that skylight. So basically, even if you're taking a shower at night, you're going to be able to see. Now, again, there is a privacy shade on this door, so when you're on the toilet, if you're next to somebody who has a bunkhouse, the kids in the bunks aren't staring at you, and you see that little red paddle switch down there, that right there is what lets you make the choice between pooping alone or pooping with friends, which I think is the most technical way to say that. Great spot for a wastebasket under that sink. There's a lot of RV bathrooms that they have, I don't know, some kind of plumbing access under there or something like that. I like the stainless bath sink also. I kind of just tuned into that. That's something I wasn't exactly looking at originally. And that is a full-on big medicine cabinet, not just a mirror on the wall. You may have also noticed how it has a big old towel bar. I personally prefer towel bars over towel hooks. I just feel like there more air can get to the towel and it dries quickly, more evenly, etc. Now remember, if you prefer theater seat, if you prefer hide to bed, you have a choice between the two. As long as you know the the sofas also, they come in any color as long as it's brown. Like the old Henry Ford saying there, any color you want as long as it's black. Just a little Cougar variation. Not like the most original, creative, witty thing I've ever said, admittedly. Let's talk about the entertainment center, because I think some people are going to be weirded out by this. Is it direct, straight on facing? No. Is it bad? No. No, actually, it's not bad at all. From both positions on the sofa, from the dinette seat that faces toward the nose of the RV, it's great. So when you are sitting down in the RV, it works well enough. It is, I think, maybe fair to say that as a bunkhouse RV, there's going to be a lot of people who spend more time outside who don't go camping just to watch TV. But Cougar being a more premium brand, you get things like the TV included. You get the electric space heating Tootsie Toaster included right there. And this RV does not have excellent campsite window coverage. However, they did a thing over here in the kitchen where they shoved the kitchen cabinetry up above the counter. As you can see, that one big cabinet door, but they gave us a bigger window there. So I'm not going to say this has excellent campsite window coverage, because it's not, in my opinion, anyway, being fair. However, it's not awful. And you can see out here enough, I think, to to know if you have to parent the situation or not as the need arises. And I didn't want to forget, so I made sure I proactively opened these drawers, because drawers on that side of the peninsula counters, I'm just notorious for missing. So it's kind of a weird spot. You know what I would use that for? I would use that for like flashlights and outdoorsy stuff, where you could open that door, grab it, and go. That would make a lot of sense to me. But we have a lot of kitchen cabinetry to kind of dig into here, so let's dig into it. I would say let's get Doug in here, but Doug, that lazy bum, never seems to show up to work. I've been looking for Doug. Those of you who have been watching this channel for a long time, you know I've been looking for Doug for years. Stupid Doug never shows up to work. Anyway, nice tall pantry. I like how nicely segmented that is too. You can really pack a lot of stuff in there. Nice big drawer below that oven. Smaller oven, but at least it has an oven. There's so many RVs that don't have any oven anymore. This is one of the 10 cubic foot variety 12 volt compressor fridges. And I want to specify that because that was almost the norm for a couple years. And manufacturers are finding ways to bring the price tag down on stuff, but a lot of times that means scaling down on features. And I've seen a lot of high-end RV builders suddenly start sneaking 8 cubic foot fridges in there without ever really telling anybody. But this was a very pleasant surprise. When I saw that one giant door up here, I was sure that was going to be a gravity drop door. And I really like that they use the motorhome style kind of hidden hinges on that to keep that thing up and out of the way to make that easy access. Now, it helps if you're Johnny Longlegs like me and you're nice and tall and you can reach up there. But, you know, it's not terrible. That pop-up power tower is also really clutch in that position, because if they try to put the outlets under the overhead cabinets, the distance up there would have been way too freaking high and no appliance would have ever reached those. So that pop-up power tower really, really clutch there. That is just an awesome spot for a gigantic wastebasket or big pots and pans or something like that. God bless. I'm not saying Cougar's perfect. I mean, we've already seen like the bunk curtain thing, but they're getting that resolved. But they are really good at the everyday creature feature details on these. I'm a big fan of what they... Oh, hello. This is good news. I like how they did this converter, because it's hidden away in a way that the little kids won't tend to see it and want to mess with it. The fuses aren't in the bunk area necessarily, you know what I mean? And it's easily accessed right by the door. So when the slides close, God forbid you pop a fuse, it's not blocked off or anything like that. And you might have noticed a little bit of what I call the pantrytainment center there. So you have a dedicated pantry for the kitchen, but because of the shape of the entertainment center, they just had that extra kind of bonus storage capacity, and they didn't let any ounce of space go to waste. I really appreciate and respect that. Now, you do have the choice, again, between the theater seat or the hide-a-bed. The hide-a-bed's not like a full true queen length, by the way. No RV hide-a-beds typically are. And it does get a little bit tight, but let's say there's an emergency scenario and that hide-a-bed's deployed. You see that you can still walk between it and the counter and get out of Dodge. I also really like how they do the carpetless flap on that slide out. The way it just marries up and blends into the main floor, I think is just a cleaner look and execution myself. Moving forward, remember in the bedroom, this is second air prep. These are 50 amp standard, and an easy way to kind of tell is, first of all, you can look at the plug on the outside of the RV, and there's going to be a sticker telling you what kind of amperage it has. But secondly, you see that power junction box by that vent. That is where that's where the wiring is located if you want to add a second air conditioner. This is also a really easy place to really have a better visual of the barreled ceiling that is going on here, because you see that top trim piece shows you how much bonus ceiling space you get in here as compared to a 6.5 foot linear interior ceiling liner. Little details I look at as somebody who's a professional looker-atter of campers. First of all, I like the fact that they give us doors for the overhead cabinets, so +1. Secondly, they, again, have the nicer like motorhome style overhead hinges that will hold themselves open, so +2. 3, there's not an empty blank panel in here. What I mean is there's a lot of manufacturers that might give you like one door over here and then one door over here, and then they just put a blank panel in the middle. The problem with those blank panels is you can't get to the stuff that's behind them easily. So Cougar's giving you easier access storage in like 3 different ways. And I really appreciate that. But that's the kind of stuff, if you've never shopped for an RV, it's easy stuff to miss. Your TV hookups in the bedroom are in a terrible spot, but there's no better location for them on a camper like this. Most people don't tend to add TVs to the bedrooms of these, but theoretically, you could. Your hanging side wardrobe towers, I love that they just include the removable shelves. It just maximizes the function here. And this is based, again, off your input. Cougar did not used to put drawers over here. Those little side stands were just open pockets that you just had to reach all the way up in there, and it was hard to get to. And people said, I don't like that. Cougar said, fine, we'll give you drawers. Now everybody's happy. Hopefully. I hope you're happy. Anyway, both of the bedside stands also have what I think is pretty much ideal outlet location. And you see the yellow stickers on these outlets. That is telling you that this is inverter prepped, which is something we're going to talk a little bit more outside. The front windshield does have a pull-down blackout privacy shade. I really should have pulled that down. Voila! Magic trick. There we go. They are running an RV king bed in here. The thing is, it does... actually, hold on. They used to really have very limited space to walk around the bed here. Now, you still have that big side stand that kind of sticks out, but this has improved. I missed that the first time I went through this, so they're easier to walk around the bed now. The thing is, if you don't want the 70 by 80 RV king bed, there's a way around it. You could basically just put a 60 by 80 queen in here and call it macaroni. Now, they've changed up their underbed storage. It's still easy lift, but they've given us like a shallow kind of footlocker. I don't know, shallow, it's a good 6-8 inches, 9 if you ask most guys. But they've added these double drawers down here. I really like that you don't always necessarily have to lift the bed to get to all the storage, because a good chunk of that storage comes to you. So they've added 4 drawers in these bedrooms that just did not used to be there, which I think is kind of nice. And then over here around the corner, because of the way this entertainment and entry area worked out, they had the opportunity to create a big bonus closet in here. So remember, the 2 wardrobe hanging closets beside the bed have that removable shelf. So if you want maximum dresser space, you can, but you still have extra closet space in here. It's black and it's up in here. It's hard to see, but there is, you can hear my ring tapping on it. There is a full length hanging bar in here. So this RV basically has the hanging storage capacity of an RV with a closet wardrobe slide without the extra hole in the wall, in a sense, with the extra slide mechanism, the extra seals, the extra weight, and the extra cost. And that, I think, is really smart design. One of the points of consideration on this floor plan for some folks, though, is the slide close road mode access. And if this is useful, beneficial for you, I always like to take the time to close these up. And I know some people don't care. Personally, I'm one of them. I'll just open a slide if I need to on the road, but not everybody camps the way I camp, so I don't expect my idea of camping to be the idea of camping. The fact is, with the super slide closed and that Peninsula sink countertop combo there, it kind of pinches the camper off. That unless you're going to do Dukes of Hazzard, yeehaw, you're not going to get over it. Now, if you come in through the bathroom door, the bathroom, the kitchen, the bunks are all very easily, readily accessible. And if I can Michael Jackson moonwalk my way down these steps and not kill myself, there we go. Whew. One of these days, Martha, one of these days I am going to fall down and eat the concrete. Pow, right in the kisser. You know what I mean? Anyway, moving on from here. Coming in through the primary entry door, this is where your control panel's located. So this door is basically good for opening the slide and nothing else. Because you are not getting into the bedroom with this right here. One of the benefits, though, of the AccuSlide system is that it's one of the slide systems that does not mind if you open it partially and leave it. Now, you don't want to leave it like that in the rain. You don't want to try to use the slide unless it's fully extended. But if you need to just slide through here real quick, and for whatever reason, like you left the back door dead bolted and you forgot or something, you can pop in the front door and you can get in here, and obviously so you can get to the bunks with the slide closed as well. Now, one of the major points of consideration, I think for any RV, but especially this one, is its towability. What's it going to take to yank this sucker around? Because if you look at this, it's approaching 10,000 pounds maximum weight GVW, although I do think it has a pretty reasonable cargo capacity. There's some RVs out there that are just dangerously, painfully limited on cargo capacity. The other thing is this is a little bit over 33 foot tip to tail, front to back, tongue to bumper. What that means is that, quote, is it half-ton towable, is kind of a loaded question because it greatly depends on the truck in question and the towing scenario. There are some late model tow package half-tons that would be okay for handling this one. They would be a lot happier doing it under more flatland circumstances. But, if you're going to do mountain towing, you might want to step it up. For any decent distant towing, you would probably be a lot happier with a 3/4 ton with this. But there is some half-ton towing potential. If you ever call an RV dealership and say, I have a half-ton, can I tow this? And they don't ask the question, what are your weights, or, what are your towing and payload capacities? If they just go, sure, get away from them. They do not care about your safety. They care only about making a paycheck. So that's just a shopping pro tip from your Uncle Josh here. Now, this year, Cougar went to a drop frame front compartment, which gives us this huge storage ability. But one of the things that I really like is they created that little bulkhead wall right there. I don't know if that's actually the proper term, but you get the idea. They created a wall right there, but there's actually this interesting lip. So in a way, it almost makes like a fishing pole holder area, but it also keeps all of these electronics, like your 3-way awning switch over there on the right-hand side, that white label, that's telling us that you can stand here at ground level, open and close the awning without ever going inside and outside the RV. Now, that's not like, wow, that's the first time that's happened in history, but most RVs are still not doing that. And it's a feature that I really like. It's really, really handy while you're outdoors here. The other thing there is, it's TPMS prep, tire pressure monitoring prep. You've got your solar disconnects, but all of those electronics, they're up high away from dangerous cargo shift, so that if you do have to spike the brakes in transit or take a wicked turn around, I don't know, a Michigan pothole or something like that, because that's a real thing. We got potholes here that'll swallow a Yugo. You get the idea. That having that kind of somewhat separated cargo space is really, really handy. Now, under that closet, they just had an opportunity for some open space, and they decided to open it up outdoors. So this RV actually has 2 fridges. Now, this refrigerator out here is a 110 refrigerator. That is not a 12-volt fridge like the inside, so that doesn't operate in transit. But the RV is inverter prepped, and you know what? I need to double check. Stand by to see if that is an inverter prepped outlet back there. I double checked, and yes, it is. And if you don't know what that means, by default, that fridge won't operate off battery power. So basically, the fridge doesn't run when you're going down the road, is the thing that I think is going to be important for some people. If you add an inverter to the RV, you can power that fridge off your batteries. Now, it's going to deplete the batteries very quickly, so kind of keep that in mind. But in theory, that fridge could be operational going down the road. This does have anti-lock safety braking. Also, notice the red rubber baby buggy bumper road armor suspension package we have going on here. Very few travel trailers have a enhanced suspension package. It's still a leaf spring system, but this actually has the same kind of shock dampener setup that a lot of fifth wheels have. And man, I tell you, if you want to keep an RV out of the shop, if you want to have an RV that holds together, you need to be looking at an RV with some level of enhanced suspension. And there are almost no travel trailers doing that. Like, Eagle, Imagine, I think Reflection is doing some stuff like that. But it's a very, very short list. Look at the power awning. Really nice power awning coverage on this. Clears both of those doors very, very nicely. You know what I like about that? If it is raining and you're coming and going, you're not going to get that rain spritz in the face, which is kind of nice. Now, the direct entry bathroom really freaks out people who have never had an RV before. I get it. You're looking at this and you're like, why is there a door looking at a toilet? And basically, it cuts down so much dirty foot traffic in and out of the RV. It's not even funny. You don't need stuff like this in your house because you tend to spend time either in your house exclusively or, you know, in the car or out of the home. But at an RV campsite, you tend to be outdoors, like over here where it's nothing but concrete under the awning where your picnic table would be, over here on the right-hand side doing all kinds of fun stuff, making memories, getting dirty with the family. So hopping in and out while you're dirty to use the bathroom and not tracking all that through the RV is very, very nice. Now, by default, these do have a power stabilizer system. So all power jacks, standard. Technically, power stabilizers, not jacks. There is a technical difference in the meaning of those words. If you're curious, drop me a note and I'll fill you in the comments. But there is a full auto leveling option available. It's going to add some money, but it can be done. That can absolutely be done. She's camera prepped. She's got a full walk-on roof. You see the ladder. I prefer a ladder built on versus telescopic. What is your preference? I'm curious. I do like also that this, what do I want to say, cargo bunk door back here does have a slam latch with a deadbolt on it. So basically, it's a normal entry door handle. It's basically a normal entry door. It's just smaller, essentially. But I've got like folding electric e-bikes. You could fit 2 of those under that bunk very easily, although having some place to tie those down into the floor would be nice. We've also got that 300-pound rated rear accessory hitch and a bumper. Cougar has become very good at doing and instead of or. Rockwood's also very good about that. Cougar and Rockwood both, their whole thing is, what's everybody else doing? We're going to do all of that plus one. Like, that's really become just their goal. Give people what they want and just give them more of it. Now, it means they're a little heavier. They're a little more expensive, but you could argue maybe a little bit nicer. Now, what I haven't looked at here, like we've got a tankless on-demand water heater. That's in this back corner. We have, I do believe, a consolidated sewer system. Yes, indeedly doodly, Ned Flanders. We have everything coming out of one location here. So a single crap tap. We do not have the dreaded poop hydra, where you have to do the poop scoop boogie between things. This is the Norco AccuSlide system. Folks have mentioned they like it when I get into what slide opportunity or what slide systems different RVs have. I think either I have out or I have in progress an updated slide out video, kind of giving you the ins and outs and the positives and negatives of different slide systems. They all have advantages and they all have drawbacks. Cougar uses nope. They use AccuSlide. It can go floor flush, which is cool, but it also, you shouldn't be sitting in it while it's retracted, and there's other positives, negatives. Anyway, also, nice little privatized docking center right here. I like how they put that little partition wall in that docking station as well. I'm not personally a fan when RV manufacturers include a docking station but leave it open facing in the front storage compartment. It just feels like a recipe for water damage that I don't personally like. Like, God forbid one of your fittings isn't totally flush and it's dribbling or something. I don't know. I like what Cougar's doing there. And above the entry door, you see the solar panels sticking up on the roof. Let's talk about it. So Keystone has one of the better factory supplied solar packages. First of all, their panel's a little bit bigger. Most brands have 190 to 200 watts of factory solar. They're running 220, so 10% bigger. Not that that's going to be a major difference, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? The other thing is they're running a better, more efficient charge controller. A lot of brands are running a PWM, Power Wave Management Variety Charge Controller. That probably means nothing to you, but basically normal battery charger, battery tender. They are actually using an MPPT variety Victron charge controller. That means maximum power point technology. Essentially, it recaptures roughly about 10% more of the lightning, or the solar radiation from the sun. It reconverts back into lightning that we keep in a bottle on the nose called a battery, effectively. Essentially, their solar package is 21% more effective than most other factory solar packages. And this is the base package that's factory standard. There are other enhanced packages that are significantly better still available on these. If you'd like some details on those, don't hesitate to reach out to our team and they can go through the full breakdown of all the equipment for you, because otherwise it's just going to turn into a 20-minute video of me talking about solar hardware, because that's a whole different circus. So thanks again for tuning in, everybody. I'll drop you links in the video description for pricing and availability on one of these, whether you're curious or whether you're serious. I kind of wish we had Cougars at more of our Bish's RV locations. We don't seem to have them at as many as I would like, but maybe I'm a little bit biased. I've liked Cougar RVs for a long time myself. The other thing is, this is not necessarily a completely original floor plan out there. There are plenty of other double over double bunkhouses with super slides. Heck, we have one in our Go Explore line. This is very similar to a 29 BHB J Feather. And I tell you what, instead of just listing these things off to you verbally, because I don't expect you to remember the alphabet soup of this business, I will drop you some links also in the description where if you want to see some other builders who make a thing like this, they'll be one click away, just like the pricing. Never need to call a salesperson. And remember, we don't do hidden fees at Bish's RV. So when you're ready, we're ready. And in the meantime, thanks again for tuning in. So take care, stay safe, have fun, and happy camping, everyone.